All right. Hey guys, this is Army Stop Motions, and welcome to our first podcast with the title of PCAS. And I'm joined here with,
The Plastic Commander.
and as you'll see from the title, the PCAS stands for Plastic Commander Army Stop Motions. So it's kind of just an unofficial title that we have. So
Aren't
today,
we so creative?
yeah, very, very creative. So today we have a couple of topics that we'll talk about, and it's pretty much surrounding the origin of our collections, origin of our channel, and we'll also talk a little bit about upcoming projects in the future. So the first topic that we have here is how did we get into collecting Army Men? So, Plastic Commander, how did you get into collecting Army Men?
They just showed up. They just showed up to my door. They asked to come in, and I let them in. And just ever since then, like it's just been nonstop. They just show up, and
So,
my
like,
bank account gets a little bit lighter.
so Toy Story soldiers just parachute in right on your front doorstep.
Yeah. Well, so when I was a kid, I've talked about this before. I was a really, really big fan of Army Men. I grew up during the '08 recession, so of course we didn't have a whole lot of money, but it was okay because like Army Men, which were like the cheapest toy, were my favorite toy. So I always got tons of those. Like whenever we would go to the grocery store, I'd always get like a bag or two, and it was like my main thing on my Christmas list every year. And I had a whole bunch. I had one Rubbermaid full. I think I had about 3,000, like I counted. And then when I was like 15, my mom got rid of all of them. And I was real sad. But a few years went by, and when I was 20, out of nowhere, I was just like, man, I really want to buy the Army Men that I had when I was a kid. So I started collecting those. Then that spiraled into collecting the ones that I really wanted when I was younger. And now it's spiraled into everything. I collect vintage, I collect new, just high quality, low quality, whatever. So that's kind of how I got my start. So what about you? What about Army Men called out to you and grabbed you and pulled you in?
Yeah, so growing up, I've always enjoyed sort of the war films that I would see on YouTube and on
Mhm.
TV. And yeah, as a kid, I would have Army Men themed birthday parties. And similar to your story, they were nice and cheap. We can go to Walmart or go to the Dollar Tree, and I would get a couple of packs, play with. My mom never really got rid of the Army Men that I had. I've always kind of just stored them
Good for
away.
you.
Always kind of just stored them away and forgot about them uh, when I was in middle school. Um, but yeah, what really kind of got my collection process going was just seeing others and kind of the birth of my YouTube channel. It kind of just started out as a hobby, just making little short films in the summertime. And once I finished middle school, kind of just forgot about it. Kind of packed up all my things, put it in the attic. But then I noticed that one of my videos just randomly blew up. It was called "Zombies Attack the City." Really crappy video that I filmed on my iPad Mini. It's all grainy.
An
Uh,
absolute classic.
Classic, yeah. I have
Will be studied for generations.
one speaking role in there, but you can hear that I'm a squeaker in there. I think I was about 11 or 12 years old when I filmed that. So,
That's
all,
awesome.
so all of them went away, boxed up in the attic, forgot about. But then I noticed, hey, people are actually interested in watching these videos. And I eventually turned old enough throughout high school to monetize my channel. So I decided if I come back, I want to come back strong. So I came back with
Mhm.
another zombie video. And after that, I just decided I want to purchase more sets and just continue on coming up with creative ideas, coming up with new projects. One of the more recent films that I produced was The Town. It was a World War II themed video. So I decided, oh, I'm kind of lacking in the World War II theme department. So I purchased a lot of those sets. And just after that, continue to just really buy more and more, um, for
But
the intent.
ironically, that
I was just going to
I
say
don't mean to cut you off or anything.
for the intent of using them in future films.
I was just saying I don't mean to cut you off, but unironically, I love that video. Like it's so well put together.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, like I watch it all the time. Like I have these like stretches where I'll just sit down and watch stop motion stuff from like when I was younger or even made recently, and that's one of the ones I go back to a lot.
Yeah, thank you. I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that film, and I actually have a lot of funny and interesting stories that we can talk about maybe in a future podcast episode. But yeah, that took a long time to film that. 30-minute stop motion takes a lot of time.
I was really surprised that you were able to get Angelina Jolie to do a voice role in that one. Like I when I heard her voice, it really took me aback.
Yeah.
So um,
Yeah, and I just get a lot of my close friends or some other YouTubers to voice act in there. So a lot of my friends are kind of happy that they voice acted, and they can say, "Oh, look, I'm a famous voice actor on this movie. Go check it out."
well, I was in one of your recent ones. And that was my first time doing any voice work or anything. So I was really tickled because I used to be a college theater major.
No,
For I was like I only did it for about a year, and then I switched over to English. But I love every opportunity I get to act. Like when I was in high school, I loved acting, and in college, of course. So that really made my day when you asked me to do that. So thank you for letting me
oh
be
yeah,
in your most recent one.
yeah, no problem. I before I come up with the script, I always think about the characters, and I think about the voice actor behind those characters. So sometimes I actually write the character kind of around the personality of the voice actor. So with
Yeah.
the main character in particular, I kind of had an idea of wanting you to voice act for that. So appreciate that you were willing to be a part of that project.
Yeah, thank you again. But yeah, I need to actually watch that. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm gonna do that first thing after we hang up. So, but
Uh,
yeah, we decided to start doing a podcast. Like I hit you up, and I was like, "Hey, I
yep.
think there's kind of a market for it. I feel like there's not a whole lot of people out there for the Armyman community to latch onto who don't just do stop motion. Like, of course, we have General Mo, but other than Mo, and of course you as well, we don't really have a in the community. Really, stop motion seems to be like the pinnacle. And for
Yeah.
me, I really, not that I don't love stop motion, I love the history behind the toys. I love different companies and different figures. I love listening to people talk about how they grew up with Army men, as well as
Yeah.
other toys too. Like whenever I do a lot of thrifting and going to flea markets, and whenever I go to the flea market, there's a local one around here, and they all know me as the Army men guy. I talk to tons of older people there, people in their 60s and even 70s. Whenever they see that I'm buying Army men, they just gush and go, "Oh, when I was this age, I had this playset." And usually I tell them, "Yeah, that playset's worth like $800 now. So if you got it like in your attic, pull it out and try to sell it." So,
The golden era of toy soldiers.
well, absolutely. Like, I'm really jealous um, of a lot of the baby boomers because especially Marks, like, if you've
Yep.
seen my channel, you know that I'm a big fan of Marks. So, the fact that they got to grow up in that golden age,
Yep.
that's That's really, makes me pretty envious. Although we had a lot of really good stuff too, I think, you and I,
Yeah,
when we were growing up.
I think that's a good segue into our next topic of the different army men that we grew up with. So why don't you kind of elaborate on some of those that you've grown up with?
Well, I think you and I, of course, we probably had a lot of the same experiences.
Yeah,
Of course, for me, Imperial, I've said this before, is a really big part of my childhood. Not just with Army men, but they made cap guns, fake handcuffs. They sold sea buckies
yeah,
as well. So they had that whole section at Walmart for
yep,
decades of just all of
yep.
their stuff.
I think
And
you can
if
still
you,
get some of those today at Walmart. I've seen them online.
yeah, now uh, I work at Walmart. I was a manager for a little while, but I just stepped out of my manager position. So I know a few of the ins and outs. We just got a new supplier called Toy Midness to do all of those cheapo toys. And I don't know if Imperial, because I know they went bankrupt. I don't know if maybe they switched over, like if Toy Midness is just a rebranding of a lot of their assets, because I know a lot of those Chinese companies will do that.
Yeah.
However, at the same time, I don't think so necessarily, but still, you never know. But yeah, I think Imperial made much better Army men than Toy Midness, though. I don't know if you've seen the ones Walmart's selling now, but I don't think they're like that amazing.
Yeah. What about Jaru? I was really familiar growing up with Jaru, the kind of Dollar Tree specials. Those modern era soldiers.
Yeah, I really like their figures too. Their Desert Storm figures, and they also
Yeah.
made a lot of Airfix clones way back in the day. I don't know if you knew that.
No, that's actually news to me.
Yeah, a lot of those Airfix clones that you see, like the knockoffs of the British paratroopers,
Yeah.
Jaru made the vast majority of those in the 80s and 90s. In fact, I have a vintage bag from like the late 80s. So, but yeah, of course I grew up with Imperial, like, and what I loved about Imperial Army men back in the day was that I don't I don't know if you remember this. I know you're like a little bit younger than me, but and I talk about this all the time. You would go down at Toy Aisle, and there would be a whole section dedicated to plastic toy figures by Imperial, like construction workers, firemen, police, army men, cowboys and Indians, like a whole mess. Do you remember that at all?
Not as much. I think when I really noticed things like that, I mostly saw like G.I. Joe knockoffs and kind of like giant plastic gun sets. And then there'd be just a
Yeah.
small little tiny rack of a couple of different army men sets. But I do remember the police officer, firefighter, and some of just the normal soldiers.
Yeah, I remember, and maybe it's because I'm a little bit older than you. It would have all of those themes, and I remember the bags. I don't know. Do you remember the bags of Army Men, or did you get the ones that had the cardboard back?
Yeah, I mostly saw the ones with the plastic bag with the cardboard headers. That's mostly what I saw,
Yeah,
or buckets.
yeah, I remember the buckets. But yeah, I remember when they switched from doing the bags to that, and I always preferred the bags because like they also sold tanks, which it's really difficult to get decent tanks for Army men now. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like not really that many companies make just like cheapo tanks, like clones of Timmy tanks anymore.
Yeah, I remember you could get a pack with a green side, a gray side, or tan side, and they would throw in some of those sandbag walls, throw in a couple of tanks and throw in the flags with the little stones that you put the flags in. I remember seeing those a lot, especially at Dollar Tree, Dollar General. But yeah,
Yeah, I
now
remember.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I remember Dollar Tree did sell some small bags for a little while, with Imperial Army men in them. I don't know if you noticed this, but for like a really short while, they were selling a new kind of Imperial toy soldier. They were really flat, but they were like had a nicer mold. It was an original mold, but they were really skinny, so they were kind of cheap. But I have some of them, and I plan on doing an Imperial video in the future, and I want to talk about those as well, just because I think a lot of people are going to be shocked just how many different Army men Imperial actually made over the last 2 decades.
I think I'm kind of familiar with that. They're almost like two dimensional, but still three dimensional, but like really skinny.
Yeah, they're like really thin, and they didn't just do Army men; they also started a new police line, a new fireman line that were similar. And
Yeah.
I bought like a whole bunch of them. I'm glad I did because they went off the shelves after Imperial went bankrupt. This was right before they fell out. And it's a shame that Dollar Store doesn't sell RV Mint anymore. Like that's a shocker to me, as well as Dollar Tree. They really don't have that many RV Mint these days. They occasionally at Dollar General they'll have like some of the Sunny Days buckets, but that's all I've seen pretty much.
Oh, wow. Guess inflation's hitting our country really hard then.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Like, I guess so. Although I wouldn't even be upset if they just kind of raised the price on them if it meant we could still have them like on shelves on the pegs. But I guess it's just kind of like an impractical thing to keep selling for so cheap. Um,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I could think of, really.
I also grew up with a lot of just knockoff sets in general. I remember knockoff sets of the Airfix Cowboys and Indian line. A lot of like what you
Yes.
mentioned before with the Airfix British paratroopers, but all the helmets were smooth. Um, some knockoff Matchbox figures. So that's mostly what I had a lot growing up. And actually, the first set that I remember getting was a True Heroes set, not the bucket, but the actual box that came with that plastic map,
Yes.
the huts with the bridge that connected the two, just a lot of
Sorry about that.
accessories. Um, and that was actually the first set that I used for filming some of my little tests. So that set kind of kicked off my YouTube channel there. True Heroes original set.
I bought a bunch of those because they went on clearance at Target right before they quit selling them.
Yeah.
So I remember they had dropped them down to $10 each, and I bought the last three that they had. This was about 5 years ago now, and I was really happy to get those. True Heroes was a great company. I don't know if you know about their other stuff, but they also did the
Knights.
Knights. I
Yep,
don't know
I
if you
had
ever had
that.
any of their Knights.
Yep, I had that bucket. That was one of my other original videos with using the Knights. Um, they had a Cowboys and Indians set, if I'm not wrong, with some
Did
wagons in
they?
there. I believe so. It was very sim. I know they had a pirate set. I actually did not get that pirate set, but I did have the knight set. I'm I'm,
JB, look that up.
I'm pretty I'm pretty sure they had the Cowboys and Indians bucket. It could be a different brand, but it I think I got it at the same place that I got it, the Knights bucket. But
Oh, yep, you're right.
I just remembered also on the theme of pirates. I don't know if you've ever been to Cracker Barrel, but I remember a long time ago at Cracker Barrel, they had this pirate set. It was like black and red pirates, and they came with like a wooden rowboat, wooden cannon, and some barrels. But that was like one of my other early sets that I got.
Sorry, I'm on eBay right now looking up these True Heroes Western figures. In fact, I'm about to buy a bucket.
Yeah, I remember the real reason why I wanted to get them is because it had a wagon. I had the Western figures, but I never had any sort of wagon or horses. So um, that was really a big
They
driver to why I
also
got that.
they also did a fantasy bucket on not the knights, but an actual fantasy, and it came with like a bunch of cool stuff, like a minotaur, like some townspeople, and like some candelabras, tables, chairs. And the first thing my mind always goes to, D&D. And like a bucket of those actually goes for a decent amount. I think like $40 maybe. I think I talked about it in the video. And I think a lot of that is because people see that and they just immediately go, "Oh, that's perfect for my D&D game."
Yeah.
In fact, one of my friends who does D&D regularly, he's wanting to borrow some of my army men. So I was actually gonna look up, since I'm gonna collect them anyway, fantasy figures and add them
Hmm.
to my collection so he could use them. Just like I said, I'm gonna get them at one point or another. So, but yeah, True Heroes was a really great line, and they still sell. I know the regular Army Men on Amazon. You can still get them in the bucket. I think
Just
they
the
still make
bucket.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the
Do they
bucket.
still have sets with the huts with the bridge across? Because I think the buckets
No,
they've kind
no,
of reduced the amount of accessories that you can get.
no. And you know what I miss? I missed the big mountain. Do you remember the mountain that came in those? It was like red and brown, and it had like a big arch in it and a window. If I sent you a photo, you would know exactly what I'm talking about, probably.
I just remember the tan like rock little mountain. I don't remember the one
Yeah,
with
that
the
small
arch.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a reddish brown. It was two pieces, and
Huh.
um, they connected like a little mountain fort. It wasn't super big, but like it was a pretty decent size. It came in the box, the rectangular tub,
Yeah.
and I had that when I was a kid. That was one of the ones I had. I don't know if you remember, but they also sold them in like this satchel. It was like a clear satchel with a green outline.
No,
Um,
I don't remember those.
yeah, I had one of those when I was really young. Again, I think that's something you may have missed out on being a little bit younger than me. I had one of those. I used to fill it up with most of my army men and take it around everywhere, to like doctor's visits and like the park or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of those the sets with the buckets or the boxes, they make really great like travel. When I was filming the town, there was a couple of scenes with the church, like the outdoor church scenes. That was in a
Yeah,
park.
I remember that.
That was in a park that was kind of close to my house, but I had to travel a far distance for that. So I used a lot of those buckets just to store the Germans and the Americans in there, and it was really easy for me to just bring those on set. Um, so that's one thing I really do like about actually having those versus just the plastic bags with the card headers where you just toss that out after you're done opening it up.
Yeah, I what I did recently was I've been buying ammo cans. Like I have
Yep.
three metal ones, one that's tan, one that's black, one that's green, and I've created strike battalions for each color. The
Yep.
gray figures are in the black, the tan are in the tan, green in the green. And I also buy the small plastic ones you could buy at like Academy or Walmart even. And those are really good
Yep.
for figures. I use those too. They're only like $5.
I would
But
not
yeah, like,
I would not recommend putting Airfix figures in those, especially the new ones. The
yeah, no, those new ones break so easily.
Yeah, I really love Airfix. It's one of my favorite Army Men companies. Um, but the new figures that they've come out with the hard plastic, the gun barrels break way too easy, and storing them is just a guarantee for you to break something. I
Absolutely. Like I've gotten those. Like I think I got the American paratroopers, and yeah, they came. A couple of them came broken, so I was kind of upset about it. But I don't know if you also have seen these, but there's another company that makes Airfix figures. They were on Amazon for a while. They make clones of Airfix figures that are about on par. When they were on Amazon, I bought almost every single one, but
would
I haven't seen them. The only ones I've seen is if you go to, um, gosh, I can't remember the store name. It's one of the stores I buy from all the time. They sell the tan Africa core
I think
for
I've
like
seen that.
$15 a bag.
I think I've seen that on
Yeah.
eBay. Yeah,
Yes, it's probably the exact same listing that I'm talking about, and you can. And they apparently have a bunch because they'll cut you a deal if you buy like a bunch of them. So like, um, those are really good, and they're cheaper than regular Airfix Africa Core. I think
yeah,
regular Airfix Africa cores still are kind of high, even the reproductions.
yeah.
So if you're itching to get those, I'd recommend going that route because they're actually really nice. And I'll do a review on them when I talk about Airfix. So,
Another great
but
company is Matchbox. I was actually lucky enough
yes.
to find the entire series of the 132 World War II figures from Matchbox. And I believe all of the sets that I got were like around the 70s. And you can definitely tell the quality of those figures versus the Airfix like new reissues. You can bend the guns around a little bit. Some of them are kind of that soft plastic. You can bend the guns around; they won't break. But those are probably that's between Airfix and Matchbox. Those are probably my two favorite companies, and Timmy, of course. Timmy has a lot of great army men, but those for me are probably top three.
You know, it's sad because I didn't really grow up with Timmy that much. I think I had a handful of Timmy figures when I was really young, but I mostly got the clones that Imperial made.
Yeah,
But I remember being a kid and I would watch like a stop motion video and like the Timmy, actual Timmy would be there. And I was like, hold on a second, why do those look so cool, but mine look like garbage? Like, what's
why
going on here?
why are they so crispy and mine are so blobby?
Why are these already been deep fried, sir?
Yeah,
But yeah. So I gotta ask you, so you said that you put your army men away for a while.
yep.
When did you come back to them and why? Like, what holds you back to army men?
Yeah, so I kind of touched on it before. In my last video, I made like a trench kind of World War One style video for the General
Mhm.
Mo's, one of the General Mo's stop motion contests, and
Oh yeah.
I think that was all the way back in 2017, and I think that was my eighth grade year, so middle school probably, and around the same time, I got a girlfriend. So all of my time and attention left Army Men went to her and with school. So I kind of just packed up everything, put it in the attic, and was just focusing on high school, focusing on other things. And just randomly, I think one day, my the zombies attack the cities hit the YouTube algorithm, and a lot of people started watching it. And I think before I quit YouTube, my videos only had like hundreds of views. I don't know if any of the
Hmm.
videos had 1,000. They were all pretty just low low traffic. It was kind of just something I was doing on the side as a hobby. And then, like I said, one day I just saw that that video blew up, and a lot of people were just watching my videos. So I decided wow, I can actually make money off of this. It can be like passive income for me. So I came
Mhm.
back and reopened all my figures and decided, okay, now I want to actually put more time and effort into this. I don't want to film in 7 or 8 frames per second. I want to actually get that up higher. Currently, I film at 12 frames a second. It just looks better. I want to invest in my audio, invest in my camera that I use. I was originally filming on an iPad mini, and now I'm filming on a iPhone 13 Plus. The camera's a lot better. Um, so,
Yeah, I got the iPhone 14 and it's really good.
yeah, the camera's amazing on these newer phones compared to the iPad mini. Um, so, as I was improving my production of my videos, I also wanted to kind of expand my armament collection as well, and kind of just try new things with like the town, the World War II. I kind of talked about that earlier. But then I just started watching others, like watching your channel. It led me to discover different brands that I'd never even heard of. There's another YouTuber named the Plastic General. I think he's from Canada, but he also collects exclusively 1/32nd scale World War II soldiers. So I've seen a lot of new brands from him, and just looking around in general on YouTube and joining different discords. I kind of got to learn new companies, and just going on Amazon and eBay. It was really just exciting and enjoyable for me to start collecting them and using them in my YouTube videos and films. So that's kind of my me returning to YouTube. Also, kind of led me to return back to Army Men, and once I started making money off of YouTube, I was actually able to reinvest all of that money that I earned back into my hobby. I was able to kind of purchase some of those more expensive sets, kind of with Matchbox. I think some of those sets ran me around $50, $60. So
Oh yeah, the Matchbox figures go for a decent amount.
yeah. So
There's this. I saw the stop motion the other month. It was like I'm guessing the guy who runs the channel is like a younger kid, maybe like I don't know, young teenager maybe. And I was watching one of his videos. It just popped up, and it was pretty good. And I realized all of the army men in his video, it was like army men versus Lego. All of the army men were like vintage Matchbox, Marks, Airfix. I was like, oh my goodness, this kid
yeah.
is sitting on a treasure trove, and he might not even know it. So I commented, I was like, hey buddy, just so you know, those army men are worth like a decent amount of money. You got some Matchbox, some Marks, some Airfix in there. So just do the old plastic commander a favor and take good care of those guys, huh? And there were a couple people like, oh man, it's the plastic commander.
Did he ever
And then I
respond?
was just like, he did. He was like, oh, wow, I didn't know they were worth so much. Thanks. I love doing that. I love jumping on random YouTube videos. Like, there's another guy I watch. His name is 80s Toys Rock. And he does thrifting. Like, he goes to thrift stores. He films
Yeah.
what he finds. He mostly looks for, like, 80s toys. And he picked up, like, a handful of vintage Army Men. And he was like, yeah, I don't know what these guys are. And of course, I jumped out in the comments like the nerd I am. And I was like, that's a vintage Airfix. That's a vintage Marks. That's a Timmy figure. That's this, that's that. I don't even remember
Yep.
what they were. I think it was mostly Timmy and Marks. And he was like, oh, thanks, man. So I'm like the Army Men fairy. I pop in and I'm like, that's what that is. And then I run away.
The plastic expert.
Yeah, there's gonna be like an episode of Pawn Stars where like a guy is gonna bring in like a vintage Marks Battlegrounds, and Rick is gonna be like, "Yeah, let me
Call
call
you
my
in.
guy for that." I'm gonna walk in. I'm gonna be wearing the helmet, I'm gonna be wearing the shirt, and I'm gonna be interviewing like, "My name's Clay Miley. I'm the Plastic Commander. I've known Rick for about 12 years now, and I've been his go-to Armyman guy. He flies me from Texas to LA, and yeah, I evaluate figures for him." And I'm like, "What you got here is a specifically 1965 Battlegrounds. This is the box that was specific to Sears, so that makes it a little bit more rare. So just you also still have the bullets for the machine gun. So yeah, I'm kind of a nerd, just a little bit.
Yeah, but I think it's great for other people to just learn about history of armament because a lot of those sets like Matchbox and Airfix, um, I kind of just knew surface level information about it. I mostly just knew about the clones and knew about like the more
Mhm.
popular sets. Um, but discovering some of those more obscure, I don't even have a full collection of every single Airfix set. I'm still missing some of those more obscure ones, like the German mountain troops, the
The Kabutsier
Australian,
guys.
the Australians, the Gurkhas, the Japanese. Some of those sets I'm
There,
still missing.
real quick, there was a guy on eBay selling reproduction Gurkhas for dirt cheap, like $10 for a whole set. So I'll see if I can
Oh,
look him up real quick and I'll send you the link.
okay. Yeah, that'd be
Um,
great. And some of the other countries, like Airfix is from the UK. So watching other YouTubers from the UK, I was able to kind of see more about that. And there's one YouTuber named Green Soldier Productions. He has a
yes,
lot
I've watched
of
this stuff.
official figures, and I'm not sure if Fischl that started out in the UK or if that's a local company, but I've seen he's been able to pick up a lot of those sets. But for me, it's been really hard to find those on eBay. And sadly,
Yeah, they're
there's this one lot that had tons of the jeeps, tons of the trucks, a lot of the tanks, probably like 50 soldiers. I was waiting for the auction to pay out for that, but someone beat me to it, and I was so sad because I don't have any of the vehicles. I only have some of the figures. But
yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. In fact, I think I remember that specific lot. I think I just didn't want to pay the shipping because it was all the way in the UK. It was an international auction, and but yeah, official. I think they started in the UK, and I think they export to Canada as well. Because I know
yeah,
in Canada they were able to get the official army. But I don't know if you remember the stop motion series Beachhead
yes,
from
the
way back in
guy
the day.
he cut the heads off, he cut the arms off, and they actually move around.
Yeah, and he put wires.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always thought that was really cool, but he's from Canada, so that makes me go, okay, well these are seem to be available in such abundance in Canada. This guy's just cutting them up. So, um, which side note, he actually completed that series a few years ago.
yeah, I've
So
seen that.
I
I've
don't know
seen
if you
that.
knew that.
Yeah.
I was waiting for like literally 15 years for him to do that. I kept checking back, then finally I did. And I was like, so. But yeah, the official army men are so cool too, and I have a handful. I have like a couple, not a lot. And I paid a little bit too much for them. Like I got like 10, and three of them were broken. I think I paid a combined $16 for those, which is kind of ludicrous.
Oh man.
So, um, but however, um, I always keep my eye open for those. That's one of the pieces I'm really gunning after, and it's one of my crown jewels. Which, speaking of, do you have any crown jewels that you're trying to get, or I guess I should say a white whale? What's your white whale for RB men?
I don't know if I really want to disclose that information because
Okay,
then people try to beat me to it.
there.
Yeah, no, no, just all jokes aside. Um, probably, collecting, finishing out that Airfix, all of the sets there. I had Fischl saved on eBay. You can save search terms. I've had Fischl saved
Right.
for probably half a year now because after seeing that one lot go away, Uh, I'm trying to really collect some of those vehicles. Um, I have all of this figures for the greens. I'm missing one or two figures for the tans, but I'm missing all of the vehicles. I have all the Matchbox sets. Um, I guess there's some Mars sets that I'm still collecting. I don't have all of the Mars. Um, I haven't really dabbled too much in those more expensive sets. Like I want to say some of the companies might be Publius or Toy Soldiers of San Diego's. Some of those more expensive sets I haven't really got into much. Um, I have one Bully tank. I don't. I've seen some of those Bully sets go around for a lot of money.
Like, yeah, like $200-300
Yes,
easily.
yes. So I was lucky enough to actually. I think it was in your Discord. Somebody posted a link, and they spelled Bully.
Yeah.
They spelled it wrong, so no one really saw that, and I was able to get it for. I got this set. It wasn't a complete set, but it came with the truck. It came with the tank. It came with, I want to say, one soldier, but I paid around like $60 for that. So that was a really good find.
I'm
Um,
looking at right now, there's an auction on eBay for a single bully take, and it's already at $20 just about. 5 bids, and there's 5 days left on it, so God only knows what that's going to end up at.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was over 100. What color is it?
No, it's green, just the olive drab green.
Yeah.
And I'm looking a little bit more at the other vehicles. There's a oh, that's cool. There's one of those folding bridge tanks, and
Yeah.
its starting bid is at $90. So that's really cool.
So yeah, another set that I actually just purchased tonight was the BMC reissues of the CTS, the Classic Toy Soldiers,
Yes.
Americans and German infantry and the German assault. I was trying to purchase those a little bit or a couple months ago, but they ran out of stock on Amazon. So they just went back in stock on the BMC site. So I just picked those up tonight. But other than
I
that, and just trying to collect the rest of the collections, that's pretty much all I'm going for now.
Yeah, I usually buy directly from Victory Buy whenever I go to the BMC website. Usually, although I haven't noticed a difference in price at all. So, but yeah, I my last really big purchase was most of the new stuff that Victory Buy put out.
Yep.
Of course, they brought back um, the Atomic Family. I don't know if you saw those, but it's like the civilian figures, which I think is really funny. I call them the war crime figures, like because they were at the Timmy headquarters. They were just talking like, all right, what's the next big thing? What's the next toy figure we're doing? And some guy was just like, hey, why don't we just do like women, children, and like loving husbands? And the other guy was just like, why? And then that guy was just like, you know why? So kids could reenact like the My Lai massacre or Anzio or something.
Yeah.
So,
If I bought
but
those, they
yeah,
would just be background characters.
yeah. The only thing I can't stand about those, and this is like one of my army men pet peeves, is I hate it when a figure has like another fixture or another thing attached to them. So, like for
Uh,
example, there's like a little girl doing like she's she has a jump rope, and the base goes off to the left, and there's a cat right next to her. That makes
uh,
me so mad.
can you just cut it off?
That would hurt the resale value, though. I don't want to do that. But I mean, yeah, you're right. Like I could just do that. But yeah, it's not just that one. Like the Galaxy Laser Team, the one lady, she has that, and I talked about this in my space special too. I, she has like that table thing connected to her. I just think that that's like really obstructive to the figure. I think Army should just be the figure and nothing more. Because like if you're making it walk around, well, is it going to carry that thing with it too? You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
kind of obstructive.
Yeah, I've seen some where it's like soldiers with the MG 42, and then there's like a little sandbag piece that's connected to their base as well.
Yeah,
I'm not really a
I've
fan of
seen that
those.
set too. Yeah,
It
I think I haven't bought that set just because of that.
this is well, I think it's the same set with that officer who's riding on the horse, and I want to say there's a couple of other soldiers that have pieces connected to them. But are there any
That would be
other?
really funny
Oh yeah, what?
if we just segued from talking about Army Men to talking about like something really really messed up like a conspiracy theory. We just like changed the whole tone of the podcast and everyone was just like, whoa, what the heck, is this a toy podcast? What are we talking about? But anyway, what were you saying? Sorry.
I was just gonna say, what other sets are you looking at trying to get your white whales?
um well, I actually found one of my white whales recently. So um so Toys R Us came back. Like they partnered with Macy's and they're putting tiny Toys R Us's inside of Macy's stores. I don't know if you heard about
No,
that.
no, I haven't heard anything about that.
So I think for the last year they've been doing that, and they started selling this set of Army Men exclusive to them, and they're kind of like the Sunny Days figures, but they're slightly different. Like a lot of similar poses, and I had been trying to track those down for like a year. I think they were exclusive to Canada for a little while, but finally I found some at Dollar General of all places. It's like a giant tank, and if you go there, you'll probably see them too. It's like a giant tank, and inside are all the figures. There's a helicopter, a jet, sandbags, and all the usual stuff, as well as the figures, of course. And I got two of those, and I hate to say it, but they actually kind of disappoint me just a little bit.
Why? What's wrong with them?
So I'll do a video on them, but the main thing is they're really flat, they're really thin, a lot thinner than you would realize from looking at the photos. And on top of that, they're kind of small, which the Sunny Days figures are also really small, although they're bigger than these. Like these are like smaller than the Sunny Days figures, so they're kind of out of scale. If I had to guess, I'd say they're like 145 maybe.
Mm.
So they don't really fit well with your other figures. So those are the two main complaints. The vehicles are pretty cool though. Like there's a helicopter, like an attack helicopter that comes with them, and I really liked it. It's really nice. But other than that, yeah, like would I recommend getting them? Honestly, yeah. Like I'm glad to have them, but at the same time, they didn't live up to my expectations, essentially.
Yeah, well, sometimes you have to get the sets for the vehicles. There's one video on my channel. I believe they were selling this bucket at Dollar General at some point, but it had these really cheap knockoff versions of the Matchbox Africa Corps, and I think also some of the German infantry, both in green and tan. But the two tanks that were in there were really great. I don't know if you remember the video, but there's one point in the video where I
Yeah,
jump up and land on top of the.
did you step on them?
Yeah, yeah,
I saw that. Yeah, that was really funny. And I have a bunch of those. I got like three of those when those came out just for the vehicles. I love that. In fact, I have that tank literally. I'm looking at it right now. But
yeah. It's such a
yeah.
unique tank that you don't really see much.
Yeah, it's like a mix of a Cromwell and like a Sherman almost, or but yeah, it's really detailed too. So that's I guess that's where all the money went was that and the other vehicles.
Yeah. There's another Amazon set that I've seen. I think it was listed as like Call of Duty something, and it had this giant like armored patrol car. It was black with a turn on top of it, and then doors on the
Yeah, I've
back.
seen that one.
That one was
I
the set that I bought just mainly for that vehicle, and it's actually used in the video that I just posted. I don't want to give any
oh I got
spoilers, but you'll see that in there.
oh I can't wait to see that then. But yeah, I saw that one. I didn't get it when I saw it, but I was on vacation about a year and a half ago, and I was in one of the souvenir shops. I saw an action figure set that had that same APC in it. And I almost got it just for that, but I had already spent like a decent amount of my money. They had some Wild West figures,
Yeah.
and I had bought those. I just didn't want to spend the money, which to me is weird because I was at the beach. I was at a souvenir shop at the beach. And out of all the toy figures that you could put at the beach, like pirates, knights for like a sandcastle, they chose Wild West. So, like, to me,
Well, out
I was a little
west,
counterintuitive.
out west, there's a lot of sand, so
Yeah, I guess.
kind
Yeah,
of
I guess that's the thought process.
the desert kind of sandy environment.
Yeah, I was going there and I was like, oh, I hope they have like some pirates or maybe even some knights. Because there was a set of knights that they had when I was a kid that was they were like red and black. They were actually painted. And I actually bought some online. I found them and I was hoping they had those, but they didn't. But oh well, off topic.
Mm-mm. Mm. So
So
yeah, it looks like we've almost been recording for an hour, so maybe we can end on one of the topics of inspiration for starting our channels.
yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, let's talk about that. So what inspired you? What's your what gets you up in the morning, Arby stop motions? What drives your artistic vision
Yeah,
to
so
be a creator?
so for me, yeah, the obvious answer is probably just watching other Army Men content creators. But I would say even before that, as a kid, I used to watch movies all the time. A lot of the Indiana Jones, the original trilogy movies, the Jurassic Park movies, and probably my favorite movie of all time, King Kong by Peter Jackson, the one with Jack Black in it, Adrian Brody. I
Yes.
I would used to reenact scenes from those movies with my Leonard Corpse Elite action figures and other GI Joes. I would always
I used
reenact.
to reenact. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. I used to reenact the deleted scene in the Peter Jackson King Kong with Lego. Like I would build a ship and I
Yes,
would send a bunch of Lego figures on an adventure, and I'd reenact a scene in the swamp where they're with that giant fish
yes,
monster that's like eating them. You know what I'm talking about?
yes. I have the theatrical release on DVD, and it actually includes those scenes.
Yeah, that was like my favorite scene in that whole movie. So, but anyway, what were you
So,
saying? Sorry, I didn't
so,
want to cut you off.
so I would always reenact those scenes, reenact the scenes from Indiana Jones with my action figures. So I really like enjoyed like watching those films and reenacting those films. And I guess that kind of led into me watching other Army Men content creators like the General Mo. I remember when Michael Ackerman's first video came out. I want to say it was like around 2011 or 2012, around there. I remember watching that on my iPod Touch, and that really inspired me. And like I mentioned, one of the sets that I got, the True Hero set, I just decided, well, I think I want to, instead of just reenacting it, I think I just want to like start making some little films and making some little videos. And the real first long video that I made was Zombies Attack the City. It's about like a minute, almost 2 minutes long.
Mhm.
And just after that, I just messed around with different themes. I think some of the other videos I originally created are privated by now, but I made some of those night films. I have a pirate film that I made, and some several others. But watching those films and watching YouTube creators, that really inspired me. So,
Yeah, I
what about
remember
you?
um when I was a teenager, like I used to love gaming content, like John Tron, Peanut Butter Gamer, Pro Jared. Like Pro
Yep.
Jared was the first ever real YouTuber I started watching when I was like 14. Uh, as far as anything that wasn't related to like Lego stop motion or Arbyman stop motion when I was like 14, that was I started watching him. When I got really into game collecting, I still kind of am. I've kind of fallen out of it though. And I, when I was 16, I really wanted to do YouTube. I was like, I want to be a game creator. I want to do like game reviews, like JonTron. And my gimmick was that I was called the Gauntlet Geek Gamer, and I was gonna get one of those Assassin's Creed hidden blades, like the fake ones. I was gonna wear it, and like if I didn't like the game, I'd stab it. And
Yeah.
of course, I never did that. Um, and as I got older, I was like, well, gaming content is everywhere. Everyone does video game stuff.
Yep.
Like everyone and their grandmother. Like I have another buddy of mine who did a gaming channel. He actually got like 100 subs, but he just wasn't able to really get it off the ground as
Yeah.
much as he wanted to. So, but then like 2 years ago, in fact, yeah, it's going to be 2 years this summer. So I guess a year and a half technically, out of nowhere, or I guess not out of nowhere. I had been like kind of dwelling on it. I was like, I really want to do YouTube. So I don't know if you use Reddit at all, but I have a subreddit for Army Men called the Plastic. It's Toy Plastic Dudes or
Mm,
Plastic Toy Dudes. I'm sorry, getting
yeah.
my own subreddit wrong. So but I'm at like 400 something followers on there. I'm not super active on it anymore, although there's still a lot of people who post. I comment on their stuff. But I had a couple of people about a year and a half ago who were super active on it, and I asked on a post, I was like, "Hey, um, if I started a channel dedicated to Toy Army Men, would you guys watch?" And they were like, "Yeah, I would watch." It was like 3 people, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna do it for me and these 3 people." So, at the time, my branding on my Reddit page was Armyman themed. If you go to my Reddit page, the Plastic Commander now, it's my Reddit avatar is green, like Toy Story green, completely. My background's like a Toy Armyman ad from way back in the day, so it's completely themed over Armyman related. And and I had a couple of posts get really big on my collection. I posted a photo of my collection to mildly interesting, and I just put I have several thousand Toy Army Men, and it kind of blew up. It got about 1,000 upvotes, and a bunch of people. Everyone was just like, "Do you remember this one? Do you remember this
Oh
Army
yeah.
Men
Yeah.
set?" And I was replying to all of them. I was like, "Yeah," and a couple of people were like, "You should really do YouTube. You should really. A lot of this stuff's really interesting, and a lot of people would probably be really curious to know things about the toys they grew up with." So that gave me a little bit more incentive, and I was like, okay. So I went ahead. I made my first video, which, God, I think it was well, my first video was just about the channel and about like what I was planning on doing with it. And it has a little bit of swearing in it, and of course, I've kind of cut out foul language for the most part in my videos because I'm
Yeah.
monetized now. And also because I know a lot of younger people watch my content, and I want to make content that they could enjoy.
Family
So
friendly.
I keep it PG-13. Yeah, I wouldn't even say family friendly because my sense of humor is so radically different. Like it's super politicized, it's super dry. Like I make fun of political figures. I make fun of Joe Biden, which I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not even a conservative. Like I make fun of Joe Biden, ironically, but I make fun of Mitch McConnell in a video. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, I wanted, because I know younger people watch my content, and they mostly just watch to look at the figures and hear me talk about the toys and to see the figures. That's why a lot of younger kids watch. But I realized a lot of older people, people in our age group, also watch my content. But anyway, off topic. So my first official video was the Timmy Army Man that you didn't know about, and I talk about the marching Timmy figure in the
Yep.
original Timmy set, which a lot of people, including me, until recently, right before I made that video, didn't know about.
Yeah. Same.
And of course, they only made a handful of them, but the mold broke. That's the story that they gave. So I talked about that set, the history of it. And then I put out another video that was like top 5 most useless toy army men. And right as I put that video out, I posted to Reddit again, and I posted to r/roastme, and I posted a picture of myself with my Army Men collection behind me, and the caption was like, "I'm 23 years old. I own thousands of toy Army Men. Roast me." And that blew up. It got like 3 or 4 thousand upvotes, and everyone was just dunking on me. A lot of people said I look like Haley Joel Osment, which I kind of do. I never realized that, but
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
anyway, everyone was everyone was just making fun of me. And I have a video on my channel of like a lot of the more clever roasts that were really funny. Like I mentioned, um, God, I forgot it. Never mind. I was thinking of one someone said, but I forgot it. But anyway, so a lot of those people went to my channel and started watching my videos, and then the algorithm picked me up, and a couple of my videos started getting a few thousand views. I was like, oh geez, I ended up getting like 700 subscribers in like a day, thanks to that roast meat post. So thank you, Reddit, for making me what I am today. And then like about 10 months after that, I was able to get monetized, and
Yeah.
now I'm making a little bit of money, not a whole lot, but a little bit off of YouTube. So that's really my creator story. I had been collecting seriously since 2018. And this was in 2022. I started becoming more open about my collection and started talking about it a lot more. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. I think my channel is approaching its 10-year anniversary. I think I started back in August of 2014. But I guess when you were starting your collection, that's kind of when I packed up and had all my stuff forgotten about. So,
Yeah, which when funnily enough, I was your age. I was 20. I had just turned 20. I remember at the time I was having like dreams of playing with Army Men. It was so weird. I had like 3 nights of dreams of playing with Army Men and having a blast. And I remember I woke up and I was just like, I go get some Army Men. I remember my girlfriend at the time, I told her, I was like, hey, I really want to go buy some Army Men. Would you think that's weird? Like, I really want to have Army Men again. And she was just like, I don't care. Um, Not to be too crude, but she literally said, as long as you're not, inserting them inside yourself inappropriately, I don't care what you do with them.
oh,
So, yeah, that's what she said. So I was like, no promises. Nah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, she didn't care. So I started buying Army Men again,
yeah,
and she ended up breaking up with me, not over that, over something else. But I still kept up with the Army Men. And like I said, it started with me trying to get the ones that I had as a kid. And then
yep,
when I did that, I started going for the ones I didn't get to have, because when I was younger, I used to sit on the computer and just look at eBay and Amazon and look at like the BMC, the Timmy figures, and really, really want those, but I never got to get them. And
Mm.
then after that, it just became more about everything vintage, brand new, whatever BMC's doing, just or the toy soldier company, whatever they're doing, I'll buy it. Armies in plastic, whatever. So that's my story.
Well, I I hope that we'll be able to continue this podcast, and in future episodes, we'll be able to talk a little bit more in depth about some other things. We can possibly talk about some of my films, or talk about some history of other soldiers or some other companies. But before we
And
end, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
well, I was just gonna say this was really fun, and I really appreciate you uh, willing to sit down and do, or I appreciate you sitting down and doing this with me. I really hope that a lot of our fans, a lot of our more dedicated fans, that is, will be
Yeah.
interested in watching this. And I will say, it's not official, but I really want to talk to Michael Ackerman. I know
Mm.
we follow each other on Instagram, because in one of my videos I talked about Plastic Apocalypse, and he commented on it, and we
Wow.
started following each other. So I'd really like to see if we could maybe get him on in a future video, and I think if we do, that would a lot of people would flip out, because he's kind of like an icon to the Armyman
Yeah.
community, even though he doesn't do Armyman stuff anymore. But still, it'd be cool just to have him on to talk about like movies or games or something.
Or
So
or maybe have some questions that come from our audience, like
yeah,
Q
like
and A.
who the heck bought his Armyman? Like, you
Yeah.
remember when he was selling his whole collection
Yes. Yeah, it went for like four or
and he
five thousand
sold the whole
dollars.
thing?
Yeah.
Which, I'm not gonna lie, I had that money recently. Like, I had enough money to buy that, and I was just like, I could have literally bought the Plastic Apocalypse collection just like that. So, but yeah, maybe we could get him on. If not, it could just be you and me. Or
Yeah.
maybe we could talk to some other YouTubers and maybe see if any of them would like to join. Maybe we could see about getting the General Mo on. That would be
Oh,
really, really interesting. But baby steps, and this is one step of many.
oh, the sky's the limit. So, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I am Army Stop Motions,
I'm Plastic Commander.
and have a great rest of your day.
Bye bye.